Let's go. Let's go. So we got another interview. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. This is RBL, Real Bread Life. Today, I'm joined by a guest from Pennsylvania. So I got my man Joel here, aka Joelle. So Joelle, thank you for taking the time out and joining us.
Yep.
So you can give the people a little bit of information about yourself, where you're from,
Yep.
and we'll get into how old you are, how long you've been in the business, and what got you interested. So first, demographically, where are you located?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, what part of Pennsylvania?
I'm from Reading,
Okay,
Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay, is that where you're at? You're at now?
Yep. That's where I live, and that's where my route is.
That's where your route is. Okay, so Reading, Pennsylvania. So for those that don't know, that is the northeast. That's still in northeast Pennsylvania, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably not far from you.
Not at all. Good, about 4 hours, depending on what route I take.
Okay.
So Reading, Pennsylvania, and so you found us on YouTube.
Yes.
Started checking in.
Yes.
Started watching the videos, and were you already involved in the bread business before that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back and what were you doing before you started delivering bread?
So I was at a Chrysler dealership for about 15 years.
Chrysler dealership, 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been through COVID there, and I've been there pretty much since 18. So I worked there for 15 years, worked my way up, and then from there, like I have a cousin down in Miami, and he has a flowers route. So he's my same age. So he actually bought his route probably like 6 years ago, and we talk on the phone, and he used to be getting off work at like 11:30 in the morning. And when at the dealership, I had a pretty important role there. I was kind of like the everything guy. So my day would consist, I would work from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I'm putting in those hours Monday through Thursday, Saturday, 9 to 5. And I'd be talking to my cousin on the phone, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm home already," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like,
Your day's just starting and he's finished.
Yes. He's like, "Yeah, I'm done." And then he's telling me like he takes a nap, and then he has the rest of the day. He has daylight. And, I never be home during the daylight, so I'm like, yeah. I was like, okay, I like this, bro. I like this because you wake up, I go to work when the sun's up, I come back when the sun's down. It's like I never had like.
So it was an 8-hour job, but you were there for about 9 to 10 hours daily.
Yeah.
And because you were the utility man, as you say, you were required to kind of get the job done.
Yes.
Okay. So your cousin had a route down in Florida.
Yes.
And you communicate and talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
And you hear so much about how he was living.
Yes.
Versus how you were living.
Yes.
So you're a little envious. So so you talk with him. He's had the route for about 6 years. Yeah. And did you start inquire? Have you always asked questions, or did he ever say, "Man, you got to get into this. You should check it out. You should try it"? Or how did you stumble upon, "I'm leaving the dealership"?
Which that was a hard decision to make. That was very hard.
How so let's go back. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so what led up to after 15 years? Like, what was was it something instant, or was it building up? Like,
it was building up. Yeah. So for like the last maybe 3 years I was there, my responsibilities got a little more added, and the other end of the spectrum didn't, So I'm taking.
So wait a minute. They gave you more responsibility, but they didn't want to give you more money.
Yes.
Oh, say that. We keep it 100 over here. We gotta tell the truth.
Yeah. So I had more responsibilities, and I didn't have a home life, and I'm just like on the weekends, I'm working Saturdays, and I'm getting calls on my day off, and I'm like, okay. So I approached the manager. I didn't get the raise. He told me wait again. So from there, I was kind of like, okay, I need to figure out an exit strategy, but I got to be smart because this obviously is a good job. I had a lot of flexibility there, so I didn't want to leave. But then I saw the flexibility my cousin had, and I'm like, I like that also.
Right.
So I just one day at home stumbled on a Facebook post of now my ASD now, and saying I have 4 routes open. My company is looking for drivers or route purchasers. And
Was it a group you were in, or just a random post? He happened to be one of your Facebook friends, or it was just in the timeline?
it was just in the timeline. Yeah, it was
Okay,
just in the
okay, go
timeline.
ahead.
The day I can remember, I was home and I seen it. I'm like, whoa! I screenshot it and everything, and I sent him the message. He didn't get back to me right away, so I'm like, man, I don't know if this is a scam. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So he messages me back and he's like, yes, we have 4 routes open. Very vague, and I'm like, okay, how much? I don't know. Where at? In Reading. Okay. I'm like, so can I get more information? No answer. Couple days later, we're having interviews this next week. Come be here at 9 o'clock. Okay, so now I'm nervous because now I'm taking an interview, and I haven't took an interview for 15 years. So I'm like, all right, so now
And
I
it's
feel like,
totally not your field.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, so I'm now going to an interview, and I go to the sales center, and I meet the ASD, and we get to sit down. I bring my notepad. I had questions for him. He gave me some answers, and he pretty much said, um, the routes are for sale but not at the moment. So if you want to ride along with the driver, you can do that. So then on my day off from the dealership, I woke up in the morning, went to the depot, didn't get paid, and I went on a ride along with the driver, and I saw the route. And I got home maybe about 11 o'clock, and I took a nap. I woke up. I was like, wow. I was like, I still have daylight. You know what I mean? It's like 2 in the afternoon. I'm like, okay. I was like, I like this. And
You were sold immediately.
yes, and I don't mind working, and I seen the work he did, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I like this.
So
So
let
go
me
ahead.
ask you this: you go on the ride along, and you get to the sales center, aka the depot. You
Yes,
walked in. Was the bread a little overwhelming?
yes, yes. It was overwhelming. So I kind of know the bread. I kind of had an idea of the bread process, because a little backstory. When I would go visit my cousin in Florida, he actually worked for one of my uncles that owns a bakery. And it's a smaller bakery, but he delivers to stores in his area. And, since my cousin was working, that would be a way for me to hang out with him, that I would actually go wake up with him 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to go start delivering bread, not even knowing that this is what I'm going to be doing fast forward 10 years later. And he's also
Gotcha.
doing the same thing in the South. So that's pretty cool.
No, I get it, and I'm sorry to cut you off. So let's go back. You
Yeah.
do the ride along. You get home. You take a nap. You wake up at 2. Go.
I get a call from the big boss, I like to call him. That's what I was calling him.
Right, right,
But
right.
that's my ASD's boss, and he calls me, and I'm feeling refreshed. I just had a nap, and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing, Joel?" I'm like, "Good." He's like, "How'd you like it today?" And I was like, "Oh, it was great." He's like, "Hey, look, so I got an offer for you." He's like, "I know you want to buy the route." I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna offer you X amount of dollars an hour. You're gonna come on with the company, and we're gonna give you paid training, and I want you to learn about the route, the ins and outs, how everything operates, and when the route's ready for sale, you'll get the first did." I'm
Yes,
like,
sir.
wow. So I'm like, okay, so now it's getting real. So
So
now
now
I
you
have
have to do your math
yeah.
between the other job, what they're offering, and what your bills are. Like, did you have to weigh the options?
Yes. I had the options weighed on how much I was going to be bringing home every week, every 2 weeks, what they were offering me an hour. It was a pretty significant jump from what I was getting paid an hour, which that was kind of big for me at that time. It was about hourly wage, So I was getting the pretty big jump, couple dollars, and
Hold on. So you were going to be going up doing the delivering the bread.
yes, I was going up.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I was going up, which is good, because that's always something, that's what we strive for. That's what we work hard for, to keep
Yes,
going up.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I saw that was going up. Now the harder part was leaving the comfortability I had at the dealership,
Mm.
being there 15 years. I was very comfortable. I had a lot of flexibility.
You had your routine.
I had my routine. I had my perks. Like everything was there. Everything was there besides raise, And so I had to figure that out. Like, okay, so I'm getting this much X amount of dollars an hour, but I'm leaving my nest.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk to the wife. She was like, look, let's
That was
break
going to be
this.
my next question. How did that conversation go?
So it was good. She's very supportive.
That's
And
dope.
we said she really broke it down. She's like, look, you're getting paid training to buy a business.
Mm-hmm.
She said, not many
Mm-hmm.
people have that opportunity.
I love it. Paid training to buy a business. And that's
Yes.
very important. I love for you to say it like that so people can hear it. Paid
Yeah.
training to buy a business. Go on.
So
Conversation.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, I've always had like a I don't like using this word, but like, entrepreneur mindset. But
Oh no, don't shy away from what it is. We have to be, because it sounds cliche, and I think that's why you're saying you don't want to use it, because everyone's trying talking, but it is what it is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if we say it more, people younger than me, younger than you, they start to think that way, because something you said earlier is how we're taught. 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? 7 to 3, 8-hour workday, 40 hours a week. And
Yeah,
that's okay
yeah,
to get to where we are
yeah,
now.
yeah.
But we're taught that way. So nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. But go on.
So yeah, I always had like an entrepreneur mindset. I always wanted to, like, I like working. I wanted to get to a point where I could work for myself. I didn't think it was gonna happen as fast as it did and the way it did, but I had to go on faith and I had to take the leap. But yeah. So where were we at? I'm sorry, I lost it.
No, you said you've always had the entrepreneurial mindset. Your wife told you that you had the conversation with her,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you kind of, she always supports you.
Yeah.
And that was my question. Like, was it a hard choice? And you were
Okay.
telling me the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. So we talked about. She's like, look, you're getting on the job training, and you're gonna buy this business. Like that's what how she explained it to me. I was like, okay, yeah, I get okay. So then I sat back and I looked at it, and I'm looking at the job, the dealership, and I wasn't really getting anywhere with the dealership. There were empty promises and more responsibilities, and it was just the stress level was outweighing the pay, and for as
You
long as
think
I've
you
been
reached your
there,
ceiling?
it was hitting the ceiling.
So yeah, there was no room for advancement. And if there
um,
was, they weren't giving you that opportunity.
exactly. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm
And
sorry.
yeah, and I watched, like, I saw a position that I wanted. There was a a sales manager position that I kind of strive for, and I tried to put my best foot forward, and then a new guy came in and kind of took it. So I was like, they just want to keep me where I'm at. They
How
just
new? How new? You were there 15 years. How new was he that he took that job?
He came in from another dealership, and he just walked right into it. Yeah,
Okay.
he wasn't even with the dealership. He walked right in. So once I met
Okay.
him, he was a cool guy. I was like, all right, you got it. I was like, that's nice. He was cool. So I was just like, all right, yeah. So I don't really see, like, because as you grow up and as you work somewhere, you see where you want, what position you want to be in. You try to put yourself in those areas. You try to grow in those areas. You talk to the right people so that your name is brought up when some things positions open up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I was doing. I'm working hard trying to get my name brought up when this position opens up or this position open up. And I'm the car industry is a lot like the bread industry. The people who are in it, they're in it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the guys,
Mm-hmm.
they retire in it, you know?
I
A
get
lot-
it. I get it. You
yeah,
felt you were next in line, and
yeah,
they didn't have that same thought.
exactly. Yeah, so
You
I'm
paid your dues, you earned your stripes,
yes.
you were ready to be rewarded with the position, and that's not what they had in mind.
No.
So, do you think that was one of the things that made the decision a little easier?
Yes, because I was like, I don't really see myself in many other places here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and the thing was any other position I would work at that dealership, I would still be getting pulled back into what I originally started in because I was the one who knew the answers to a lot of stuff, you know. And I'm the person that gets it done. So they know to come to me, then I'm gonna get it done. So if I were to move up to a manager position, I'm still gonna be charged of what I was doing before I was a manager
I
because
got you.
they know I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah, they try to keep you down. That
Yeah.
you could say it. They're trying to keep. They want to keep you over there. Stay over there.
Yes.
Stay
Yep.
over there. That's
Yep.
we need you. We need you right here. I
Yeah.
get it. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
And it really took, growing up, getting married, my wife kind of opening my eyes to it because I grew up there, before I met her. And, I'm running around this dealership hanging. It's a guys, like, there's mostly guys who work at the
Clubhouse. I
dealership.
get it. It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
clubhouse. I've been in those environments. I understand it well. I speak guy language. Trust me. I get it.
So I
I
grew
get
up,
it.
I was there for a long time, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really notice what was going on around me. Like I see, my friends buying bigger houses, this one talking
Yeah.
about,
You
yeah,
listen,
and I'm
you
like,
said you
hold up.
started at 18. You're in your 30s now.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. So I get it. And again, I don't know your whole story, but again, I was a young man in industries before, and I understand totally what you're saying. And the powers that be just needed to keep you going because what you were doing was helping them get what they were getting,
yeah.
but they weren't willing to let you grow the way they were growing.
No,
So
yep,
I get it. I get
yeah,
it. So wifey opened your eyes to that. And that's
yes,
good that you have a partnership like that, man. That's
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
That's dope. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I was like, okay, I was like, all right, then this, I don't see myself in this position. I don't see myself in any position that like if I'm gonna have to be at this place for 10 years, and 10 years later I could still be doing what I'm doing, and that what I
Hmm.
mean. That's pretty much like just like the gopher guy. I was like the gopher guy. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not trying to
feel
be a
you.
gopher guy at 40, 50, 45 years old, and these guys are just upgrading houses, throwing, decks on their house that are like double deck. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, yo, I need to get mine eventually. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So then, yeah.
So
So
they
then,
made it easy for you.
yes, they made it easy. They made it easy. Yes. Cause it would have been harder because I didn't want to go to a corporate job. I'm not a corporate man. I'm not going to sit at a desk. And I had to be very, I had to make a good decision on where my next move would be after that because like I said, it was very comfortable there. And let's say if I said I was going to work at like a Penske, which is a good job, or UPS, which is a good job too. And they're gonna be like, oh well, why are you gonna go there? You know what I mean? So I wasn't really trying to hear any of that to go to another job and get paid hourly. When I left, I was leaving to another job to get paid hourly, but ultimately I knew that I was going to be owning the bread route after. So that made it really, really worth it.
Well, I think not only did it make it worth it, it made it easier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the on the job training. There was no room for advancement. Now here they tell you we're going to pay you and let you work and learn the business and then get you the business.
Hmm.
What's better than that? And I'm sure it turned out just like you expected it to.
Yes.
So yeah, so I don't want to get away from the timeline. So you and your wife talk, you make the decision, boom, you're there. You
Yeah.
jump in.
Yeah.
Now, how long before you start working on the route, you're learning the business? Give me a what was your time frame from learning to purchase?
About 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man.
So
That's dope.
I got to
So that's
cover.
dope.
I was doing a lot of ride-alongs. I was riding with guys. I got to see some way some guys did it, and the way that the guy who was on the route that I wanted to purchase, because that's the one that was closer to my house. So I saw the way he was doing it, and then I got to ride with another guy that was a route pretty much that ran along the route that I have now. And then I got to cover a vacation. Um, for the one guy, he went out of town for 3 weeks because he worked with the company, and I was covering his route for 3 weeks. So that was like my first, what, like on my own. But I'm not really responsible. He was doing the ordering, so I just kind of got the bread, and I saw how he put it on the shelf. I rode with him for a week before he left, and then I took over that route for 3 weeks. And
That, you know what? I like that because it's sink or swim.
yeah.
Sink or swim. But that's actually good. I'm a fan of that after some time because you got to take the training wheels off.
Yeah, yep, yeah. And I feel like sometimes guys don't want to be bothered on the truck. Like, as a jumper, I had to drive with somebody unless somebody was on vacation. And at certain times, I just feel like sometimes the guys just want to ride by themselves. And here they go. I'm showing up to work. I'm jumping in the passenger seat of the bread truck. Some guys like it because they get done earlier when I'm helping. But I feel like sometimes felt like some guys, like to drive by themselves. So
Okay, so let me ask you this: now that you've been doing it, it's no, I guess you know that feeling now.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get that soloist feeling. You
yeah,
know what it is,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
It's
yeah,
crazy because I know the feeling.
yeah, yeah,
You said it perfect. It's okay to have someone with you because you know you're going to get done earlier than normal, especially if they know what they're doing. So when you came into training, and I train a lot of people, I bring people out all the time, and I really don't mind showing people how the business works. But I notice right away if they don't have the energy. The energy is very important. You
yeah,
know, like the stand around, or I'm used to, I could tell if someone just starts grabbing, what do you want me to do with this? Where's
yes,
this go? You want me to move this? You want me to take these out?
yeah,
When you start like that, I know this is for you.
yes,
If
yeah,
you're working with, like, people come out and I see them looking at their phone, they might not want to be here.
no,
They don't want to be here. This is
no,
not the job for you because it's a hustle and a grind.
yeah,
And once I say it, not to you, but if I tell the person, hey, this is a hustle and a grind, we're going to move kind of fast, efficiently, and correctly, but we're going to be moving. And if they still like want to look at the phone, or they're kind of moseying along, I could tell this isn't for them. So
yeah,
I'm saying all that to ask you, because if you're working in a dealership, I know you come from hustling.
yeah,
So you're high energy. So
yeah,
did you just fall right into the
yes, yeah,
delivering?
yeah. I fell right in. I was on board, and I was really trying to learn as much information as quick as possible while still going at the pace of the person training me.
Got you.
Yeah, and I fell right in. I don't mind picking up. I didn't think some of the bread was gonna be as heavy as it was though. That I will say. When we got the stacks at the depot and they're 16 high, and he's
Yes.
like, okay, like break it down, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. See, now that's what I'm talking about. Those are the things I like to ask those questions. And you said it perfectly. And I see you got your Dave's Killer Bread shirt on.
yeah.
That's probably you guys' heaviest bread, right?
My bread is very heavy.
Yes. So that would be the equivalent of the Arnold wide pans that we have.
Yeah,
It's a heavy bread. Now, a stack of that bread coming off the truck on that ramp, you got to give it that resistance
Yeah.
because it'll push you down the ramp.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I love these conversations because people look at the bread and say, man, it's just bread. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's gonna get you in shape.
Yeah. I was used to being on my feet, and I don't mind being a delivery driver, and stuff like that. But yeah, once I found out how heavy the bread was, I was like, oh wow. I was like, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
so it was a little intimidating, with them trays like high, and walking in, didn't really know nobody, and you know how people are 2 a.m. Nobody wants to talk to you.
Yes, but eventually, but see, again, I'm gonna go back to your previous job. You were a communicator, you had to talk to people. So once you figure that part out and you incorporate that personable relationship with the people, you know how to communicate. It's nothing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah,
nothing. It
yeah,
just seems weird when you're coming through the store with stacks of bread and you're like, excuse me. You feel like you're in the way, and you,
yeah,
especially if you're like in a Walmart or a Target or a BJ, and these people are working, you're in their space.
yeah, yeah.
But eventually, what you realize is everyone's working, and we're all doing the same thing.
Yep, yep, yep.
So you realize the bread is heavy.
Yes, that was like an eye opener. So then, pretty much, from there, I had to make the decision to leave the dealership. Um, and I had to tell my manager, and then he told the owner, and the owner reached out to me. He was on vacation at the time, and he was like, before you make any decision, he's like, let's have a meeting. I'm coming back Thursday. He never came back. He never had a meeting with me.
Right. And again, listen, I see you laughing, but somewhere that has to feel like, yeah, I'm making the right choice. They
Yeah.
don't care.
Yep. Yep.
They don't care. I'm
Nope.
not important.
Nope.
And I would never look back because they showed you everything that you needed to see at that moment, if you ask me.
Yep.
Yeah, you just told me the owner said we don't make any quick decisions. We need to have a meeting and never met with you.
Never met with me. So finally,
Wow. 15 joints.
yeah. So it's my second last day. I try not to like slack off for my last 2 weeks, as much as I could.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Did you have vacation time and all that stuff built up?
Yeah, but I don't think it's politically correct to take your vacation time in your last 2 weeks.
Oh no, they supposed to cut you a check.
Yeah, I got that. Yes.
Oh yeah, nah, that's cool. Listen, I'm just being honest. I'm about that money.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
called real bread life. It's about that bread. Don't
Yeah.
get it twisted at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Like we work, especially if I'm working, like punching, and I need my money.
Yeah. Yep.
You gotta pay. Because you know what it is, Joelle? If I owe, I gotta pay.
Exactly. Correct.
So I don't know where people would even get the audacity to think like I'm wrong for asking for my money.
Mm.
So that's all. I'm sorry. I'll go
good.
all over somewhere else with it. So last 2 days left, go.
I get called in to the office, and the conversation went completely different than I thought. I'm thinking he's gonna be like, "Oh, what if I give you X amount of dollars? Would you stay?" No, he starts asking me 50,000 questions. Oh, how much is the bread? How much is the truck? Do you know what do you have a tax accountant? Do you have this? And I'm like, I don't know. And I really got like it brought me back to like down. It brought me down, and I'm like, wow. I was like, I'm leaving. I don't know any of this information. But yeah, he was
You
like,
hold on. You know what he did? He did that on purpose.
yeah.
He tried to shoot your what's that? He tried to rain on your parade, and
Yeah.
you almost let him.
I almost let him.
You
Yep.
almost let him. See, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then I ended up talking to like one of the mechanics out in the shop, and I'm like, yo, I was like, he just asked me a bunch of questions. I don't know any of these answers. Like, I got a little like nervous. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm getting into. I'm like, I know how much the route costs and stuff, but yeah, I don't know how much I'm paying for the bread. He doesn't really know the business either. Now I see it, and he was like, how much is the truck? You should just go buy a new truck down the road. Like, and I'm just like, bro, I'm like, I'm not even there yet. So I was a little, yeah.
It's again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it seems like he was raining on your parade, a little bit of hate, and he could have been genuine with his questions he was asking, but he wasn't asking them the right way. He could have probably said, listen, I'm glad you're going off on doing your thing. I wish you luck. But some of the things you might want to look out for or ask questions about being a business owner, just check on this, and this, right? Because now you're going into it like, thank you, and you're still confident. Instead, he's like, oh man, whoo, I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's making it nervous instead of encouraging. Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No, you're right. I was definitely nervous.
Yeah, because you know why I know? I've been around those type of people.
Yeah.
I get it. And
Yeah.
again, not the same situation, but I understand. I know it's just life, man. It's just some people are like that. Back to what I said about 10 minutes ago. You have to learn how to communicate. Not you, but some people, they could be great people. Their intentions could be genuine, but their communication skills are at 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their heart could be at 10. Their
Yes.
communication can be at 2.
Yes.
And it's just something they probably never learned.
Yeah.
And with some things like this, we're always constantly learning. And, I don't know the person, but the bottom line is your decision turned out great.
Amazing.
Amazing. So go ahead. You go in, you have the meeting, he shoots you down. You talk to the mechanic, which obviously you were cool with to go and even share this information with. Go ahead.
Yep. And I'm just like, yo, I'm buying this business. I was like, I don't know any of these answers. He's like, you'll learn. He's like, you'll learn.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, he's like, you'll learn. And I'm like, all right. And I started getting to the training, and I was a jumper. So I would cover, well, at first I wanted to be on the route that I wanted to buy because I wanted to learn everything about that route. So when I purchased it, my scales were under control. I was learning about that. And I knew how much the shelves hold and all that. I knew the route because I'm familiar with the area. It passes my old job. So that's kind of funny. I had to pass it through my route. Yeah.
That's dope. I love it. Ride by and beep the horn.
So yeah, from there, and then that's when they pulled me off that route, and it was kind of hard to get it back because they wanted me like doing all this stuff. But that's when I got to go out. I took the training wheels off. I covered this guy's route for 3 weeks by myself, and I really got the feel of it. So then from there, I was like, okay, I think I got the feel of it. And then they had me drive up even further out. I covered another route for like 2 days at another depot. They sent me to another depot that I guess is under the same umbrella. So I went there and I was like, oh wow. I was like, I'm seeing everything. and so from there, I was like, okay. So I came back to our depot and I was like, all right, like I kind of want to go back on that route. But they didn't want me on the route. They wanted me to work with the one guy who said he needed help.
Right.
So I was running with him, which he gave me a lot of good information running the route. He was a pretty smart guy. I learned a lot from him that I still like use today. And then that's when I was like, okay, like it's getting closer. Because this whole time I'm asking, hey, when's the route going to be for sale? And, I was getting a little antsy because I didn't want to feel like I left the dealership to go work another hourly job.
Right.
That wasn't my plan. That wasn't my plan. And I'm getting, I took time. I took my time. I tried to learn what I needed to learn. But at some point, I was just like, okay, like, hey, it's been like 4 months. Like, hey, when's the route going to be for sale? 5 months. When's the route going to be for sale? And I kept getting pushed back. And, I didn't give up, but I just wanted to know when it was going to be ready, what information, because I didn't know if the truck's going to be included. I did not know how much they were going to ask for it. I got like a range when I first initially asked about it. It was like they gave me like a $5,000 range. It was like in between this or this, and I'm like, okay, so which one is it? And I didn't know how much I was gonna have to put down. I had a lot of questions that I wanted to be ready for when the time came that I'm prepared. So finally
So
towards
you weren't getting that information over the months you were working.
no.
Is it something they just weren't sharing, or did you have information of like, okay, I'm sorry. So what was you didn't even know what was the norm, like the percentage of that you have to put down as far as on a route, like a down payment? You didn't know
Yeah,
what their
I knew it
normal
was
down payment
10%.
was?
I knew it was 10% down and 10% in escrow.
Okay. Of what you needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I found a Facebook page, and it's they sell routes. I'm trying to think of the name. Routes for sale, or
I know which one you're talking about.
Routes are us. And so I joined the group, and this is while I'm working for the company. And I actually shot them a message on Messenger, and the guy got back to me. And I was like, "Hey, I'm buying a flowers route. I need help with a business plan." He was like, okay. He couldn't really help me with the business plan, but other than that, I asked him other questions. I was like, "Hey, look, I'm buying a flowers route, um, and what kind of information do they need? Like, okay, they're asking for 10% down. The other 10% in the escrow account, like, where does that go? Do they take it? Do we hold it? Like, I had those kind of questions, and he actually answered my questions, like personally back to the message, and which really took I was getting information from him before I got information from Flowers, because Flowers wasn't giving me any information yet.
You see, ain't that's so wild that it works that way.
Yeah,
And it's incredible. We share the information. Before we started this video, what did I say to you? I do this to share the information. I want people to know, because some people treat it like it's a best kept secret.
yeah,
And even the companies, and it doesn't matter if it's Flowers, Beanbo, Pepperidge Farm, somewhere in management, there's a disconnect because it's a simple communicational error that's happening. And we're going through that with a couple people we're working with different companies right now,
yeah,
where they're like, hey, no one's getting back to me. Hey, I try to email this person. I called, I'm not getting a call. And we'll have the information, right?
yeah.
Through personal contacts or just from knowing. But the point is, if you're in a position at the company that's trying to make money, you should be able to give the answers to the people that want to make the money with you, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so wild.
It
And
was
you're working for the company
it was
and you're
like
not getting the
it was
answers.
like pulling teeth. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So okay, you're looking for the answers, but obviously it worked out well because you're in this position now. So go ahead.
So I finally I messaged him, and here's a funny backstory. So the guy at my sales center, on the back of his truck, he actually has, like, I guess his truck was a company truck before he bought it. So he had a website on the back on his tailgate. And I would always look at it. It was like it was the Flowers website, but it wasn't like flowers.com. Obviously, it was like flowersroutes.com, flowroutes.com. So I'm at a stop one day, and uh I go on the website. I seen the route was open on sale for on the Flowers website. So there's like a five step application that you could put in if you're
Right. The
interested.
process. You did the application.
So I did the application. This whole time, I'm working for the company. I'm talking to management. I'm talking to big bosses, and I'm asking questions. No answers. Just, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Okay. So I go in. I put this application in. The next day, I get an email from the bakery. Somebody from the actual bakery about my interest, and they say, "Hey, Joe, at the moment, we're currently can't sell, but we can reach out to you once something comes available." I'm like, oh wow, I got in contact with somebody. So I email her back. I'm like, hey, look, I've been working with the ASD. I'm working with his boss, and they telling me that I'm next in line for this route that's gonna open when it opens. I'm just curious if you know any information. And then the whole conversation changed. That's when it happened. That's right there is when it happened. And she found out that I'm working for the company. She's like, oh, okay. Yeah. She's like, I don't have anything in front of me about this route. I'm like, really? I'm like, you have nothing. Like, I submitted my business plan to my ASD. I was like, you got nothing? She's like, I got nothing. And she's like, nobody buys a route that if it doesn't come through me. I'm like, okay.
Oh, so you ended up talking to the person.
I'll talk to the person.
I love it. I love it. So go ahead. Don't let
So
me
I got in
stop you.
contact.
It's getting good. It's
So
getting good.
let me tell you, this whole time I'm working, there's other guys out here who want this route. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
the new guy. I came in off the street, my town's not too big, but all the bread guys talk. Everybody knew those routes were open. Guys from other bakeries want this route. They want to grow. They're gonna put a driver on it. They know how much the route makes. So this is a highly wanted route, and I'm seeing it as I'm working it. And I know I could hear the talks, like, you know what I mean? The walls were talking. So I get to talk to the real person that is in charge of selling routes from the bakery. And I'm like, so you have nothing in front of you? I was like, okay. So I told her my information. I told her I'm currently working. I told her I submitted my business plan. And she's like, okay. And I was like, so I got a question. Do you know if the truck comes with the route? And she's like, hang on, let me check. So the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, somebody's giving me answers.
Right. Now we're moving. We're
Yeah.
moving now.
And she said, hang on, let me check. She was like, no, there's no truck allocated to that route. I'm like, bingo. Okay, now I know I need to start looking, because I didn't know if I was going to be buying the company truck that I was using at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Do you have a 52-week average? Yeah. What's your email? Like, just like that. Sends me the 52-week average. Next thing. Oh, do you have the requirements that I need? Yep, I'm gonna send that over to you. Oh, okay. All right. Bang.
So you bypass the people in the depot. Now you're working with her.
Yes.
Go
And that
ahead.
was my
Keep going. I
contact.
love this. Go ahead.
Yes. So now I got a direct line to who I need to talk to and to know when the route's gonna be available. She said week 15 or something. She was like, or week, like around, like, 2 months into the year or something. She was like, it'll be available to sell. I'm like, oh, okay. That's like, 4 weeks. I'm like, okay, I'm fine waiting.
Now
So
you're giving her your information. You already showed her you did the application because she's the one who got back to you.
yep.
So go ahead. I
And
don't
she
want to stop you.
actually had a good time on when the route would be actually available for sale.
Yep.
She's like, okay, so it's gonna be ready by week 20. And obviously I've been working with the company, so I see the weeks. I understood that, how they break everything down by week.
Got you.
So I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, okay. So then now I found a truck. I had one of the sales guys I worked with actually works for Penske, and I called him and he sold me a used truck. So that was good because he gave me a nice little discount on it.
That's dope.
Yeah. And so now I know I need to find a truck. I know how much money I need down. I know how much the route costs. I ran the 52-week average past my cousin to make sure the route is going to be worth it, because he already knows the business. He's been in it for 6 years, and everything was like, okay, everything's starting to line up. So from there, the next step was I submitted all my stuff, and then they put me in contact. They gave me a deal coordinator I was eventually set up with.
Got you.
Yes.
Yep.
So now my deal coordinator. So I'm like, okay, so now we're really getting there. And she's like, okay, so we just need you to submit background check. We need you to submit fingerprint, driver's history,
Right.
your bank statements, your all this, and like your profits and loss worksheet, a lot of stuff, which is very intimidating. And I had help. I didn't have that much help with a lot of that stuff. I had to use my resources, and so I eventually got it all figured out. I sent it in. I was like, hey, look, like all they could say is like, okay, fix this from here, because this is a lot of new stuff to me.
Right. You probably had to tweak a few things. Now, are you sending this to the lady that you were in contact with, or now you're just dealing with someone else?
Now I'm dealing with the deal coordinator.
Okay, go ahead.
So now I'm sending her all this information. And she's like, okay. She's like, I have it. Um, from here, we'll pretty much, we're gonna look it over. Every like week or something, we have a meeting to decide if we're gonna sell the route to someone. And from there, we'll make our decision. We'll get back to you in like a week and a half. And I'm like, oh shoot. I was like, I thought I was in. I thought I was
Yeah, you
locked
thought this
in.
is it. I gave him all the stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought I was locked in. And at the same time, I found the truck, and now Penske wants $1,000 non-refundable deposit. So I had to. So in this like week and a half gray area, I had to figure
Lock
out.
in with the
Yeah,
truck.
I'm like, okay, so I don't know if I'm getting this route.
If you don't get the route, you got a Penske truck.
I got a Penske truck, so I'm already like thinking of backup options. Like, okay, I'll just do like loads, skid loads, pallet jack, something.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay. So I actually reached out to the same guy again on Routes for Us,
Mhm.
and I was like, hey, look, I just met with my deal coordinator, and she told me I gotta wait a week and a half. I did all these steps, and I gotta put a deposit on the truck because I found a good price on it, and this is like somebody else is gonna buy it if I don't really like lock it in. And he's like, there's plenty of trucks out there. I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah. He's like, don't, you know what I mean? And then he goes, does it have a lift gate? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, okay, yeah. He's like, then yeah. He's like, that sounds like a good idea. And so they pretty much told me, it's a business risk. It's a business risk at this point if I wanted to put the $1,000 down. So I did it. And then from there, I had a meeting with the big boss and another person from the bakery. I had an online call, and that took about an hour. And they asked me questions about, if I'm going to be doing merchandising on the weekends. Have I built relationship in the stores? What are ways I'm going to do to grow the route? Do I know like the competitors in our area? All those questions. And from there, then I still had to wait for a decision. And I can remember it to this day where I was driving. It was a Friday. He calls me and he says, hey, Joe, I got good news for you. He's like, we approved you for the route. Oh my God. It was the greatest day.
Yeah, man. Good for you. On a Friday.
On a Friday, yes. The last day of the week.
Now, was it in that week and a half frame, or was it shorter?
It was like a week later. It was Monday. I had my interview the Wednesday before, and they got back to me the Friday after that. Not the
Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it took like a week and a half. So yeah, I was sweating. And I sent out like one email like around Tuesday, like, hey, just checking in. I'm not trying to be a pest, but I just wanted to know.
And this has been now how long since you bought it? A year?
Yeah, it's about to be a year in June.
Oh, good for you, man. Good for
Yeah,
you.
it's a blessing.
I was gonna say, you said it's a blessing. You feel like you made the right decision, obviously.
Yes.
That's dope, man. So yeah, you're really still fresh into it.
Yeah, I know. But the thing, watching your videos, I'm getting hear stories from you and your colleagues that been in it, and those are all things I see on my end too. Like we all have the same thing going on in our stores.
Yeah.
And I found you after I already purchased a route.
Uh-huh.
So if I would have found your page before, I would have got a lot more information about it, which is like, the kicker. So I found you and I was like, look at this video. And I started watching it, and you were like, what you were talking about was hitting home. I'm like, this is stuff that I need to hear somebody to talk about, because, a lot of people don't talk about this stuff. And, you try to talk to other vendors and they'll give you a little bit, but like I actually listen to like, your lives as I'm on the route. And it's just funny because it's funny because you're living it and you're hearing it at the same time. And it's like, yeah.
I listen, man, and I love to hear that. Thank you so much for supporting, and this is the reason why we do it. And you found us at the right time. right? It could
Yeah.
have been sooner.
Hmm.
But you finding us is what's key, because the same way you work with your cousin and he shared the information with you, now you know someone's going to ask you, how do you get into that?
Yeah.
Where did you start? And hit them with the real bread life. Here you go. Share the page. Um, that's dope. And we like I said, we working with a few different people now, and I actually just put together a course for people, and I haven't released it yet or even posted it or put it up. I'm still working it to fit it into the website.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do the way I do the lives to share the information is going to be soon. I'll be doing a live and a webinar with that information and offering the people the opportunity to work with me more one-to-one or in a group setting. But everybody from right now is basically, I'm just doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it in that way and in that style. But there is a product being developed, just to be honest with you.
Nice.
And I'm glad you found us, man. This is dope for me. I love to hear the story,
I
you
could.
know?
Yeah, it's a
Like,
great story.
yeah, man, it is. Like my man Brandon always says, he's a bread man. Like, he loves this stuff. You know what I mean? And he's a bread man through and through. And I like talking to him, my guy Bob, that I just did the other recent interview with, that I'm putting all the shorts up with. These dudes have so much insight to the business. Now, my partner, and everyone keeps asking why I haven't interviewed him and done a video with him. He's the reason I'm even in this business, and he's been doing it 25 plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's dope with it as well. And so there's a lot of different viewpoints you could get.
Yes.
And again, I appreciate you finding us, and I appreciate you sharing your story and taking the time out of your night to kick it with us.
Yep.
So that's dope, man, that you said, oh, if I'd have found you earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. You answered my questions. You would
Yeah,
answer my
so
questions.
I like it because you're not the first person to say while you're working you watch or listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the route I'm going. And it will be, I do the lives on Thursdays, but
Yeah.
once I'm off the truck and not on the route daily, I
Yeah.
will be coming on live during the day.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
that's where I'm going with it. So I'll be the bread man, like, we'll
Yeah.
be like, good morning, bread life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's necessary because it's stuff happens in real time, right?
Yeah.
While we're out there in the morning, it's always something happening, whether it's a receiver issue, a bread issue, as far as production, incidents out there in the yards with the people. Because you see things happen.
Yes.
Things happen that we don't talk about.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's bread aisle beef. And I don't really post any of that stuff and don't get into it. As much as I have guys always bringing it to me and trying to share with me, I'm not with that. I can't do it right now. I
Yeah.
can't. And if somebody else does, I get it. But I'm about the positive aspect of what we do. And I just want everyone to win, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm
Yep.
glad you're winning. I want you to continue to win. I
Thank you.
support what you're doing. If you need anything, we're here for you. You know what I mean? Let me get myself back in. Again, I want you to win. If we can help in any way, let us know. You have the you have the email, and I'm gonna, when we get off of here in a minute, I'll stay on so we can talk a little more. But again, thank you so much for sharing the story with us.